Welcome to the Knowledge for Men show. Your life will never be the same.
Your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development.
I want to die empty of regret. I want to die empty of my best work. We don't understand who we are. Instead, we're living out somebody else's narrative.
What one man can do, another man can do. If it's been done, it can be done again.
Being yourself and being your truest, most authentic self in every moment. If it scares you or makes you a little afraid, do it. Follow your heart and your gut.
The first stage, I think, is finding you, like finding out who I am today.
Stuff will not work. You will have things that fail. Success is when you're a happy, fulfilled person. How do you define success?
It's your life, and you are the creator of the movie script that is your life story.
The father of personal development, Jim Rohn, said it best. You are the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with. And so I've created a mastermind community called the Lion's Den around this idea that if you are surrounded by high-performing people and you have consistent education and training, then you will succeed in life and as a man. Check out kfmlion.com to learn how the Lion's Den can take your life, relationships, and business to the next level. Again, that's kfmlion.com. All right, guys, welcome to the show. I'm here with Ali Afshar. He's an actor and producer known for Three Kings with George Clooney, Godzilla, and The Siege with Denzel Washington. He's a world record holder as a race car driver, and he's currently working on an exciting drama called Running Wild alongside Sharon Stone. All right, Ali, happy to have you here on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, and Ali, I just gave you, you just found out, but we start off every show with a favorite success quote or some sort of saying that the guest has lived by. So what do you got for us? And then share with us what that means for you.
You know what? For me, I think just coming off the top of my head, it's you can sleep when you're dead. Never stop. I just don't stop. I like always being in motion. I always like moving. And, so sleep is not something for me. So if that's not too cheesy.
No. It's really just showing us how much you hustle, how much you grind, how much you work. How long would you say you've been like that?
My whole life. I mean, I remember being a kid, getting in trouble for like talking too much or being the class clown, or kind of always just being, ADD a bit, or, some people call it ADA, like attention deficit advantage. Some people call it ADD. But,
right.
Right. It's a different way. I read this audiobook I was listening to driving up to location, Ari Gold's audiobook, from Entourage. He made his own book, The Gold Standard.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was so funny, but he was referring to ADD as ADA. And I was kind of like, I get that. So I've always been like that. I've always been high energy. I don't drink coffee in the morning. If I drank coffee in the morning, I'd be hanging off the ceiling. I just wake up and pop right to it and, always working. Brain is always working.
Yeah. So I just saw that movie, the Entourage movie. The Ari Gold is a guy in there. I'm interested in how you got started in Hollywood. Acting, producing, race car driving. Talk about always on the go. I mean, share with us how you got started with what you do here.
Well, I always had, growing up in Petaluma, California, up here in wine country in Northern California, my older brothers and the whole genre, it's like where they shot American Graffiti and a lot of car culture up here. So growing up, I always loved cars. As soon as I got my license, I got a car, I started drag racing, and that kind of started my love for racing. And as soon as high school ended, we moved to LA, and I wanted to, my brother started doing stunts, because again, we're like motorcycle riding, dirt bike riding, car guys. So he fell into stunts. He was about 7 years older than me, so he kind of like opened this whole world to me. And I went on a couple auditions. I booked my first role, fittingly enough, as a character named Grease on Saved by the Bell. And Grease was like Fonzie. So it was like this kind of like shop car guy. So, I did acting for about a decade and also played around with cars and restored hot rods and kind of had those two loves together until the car stuff took off and I became a professional with Subaru of America. I started racing the NHRA series professionally in 2001, 2002. And, basically for 12 years, we were exclusively with Subaru. And I kind of put, in 2003, 2004, I had to put the acting on the back burner because I was literally doing 60 events a year, and I owned the team too. So it was in addition to racing, I ran the team, and we had a female driver, and we built our own line, which we still do. You can go buy Ali Afshar Signature Series Subarus at certain Subaru dealers across the country, kind of like a Roush or a Saline or like a Cobra, but for the Subaru. And it was full time, so I stopped doing that, but I missed it. And I was like, man, I miss acting, I miss movies, but I had made some friends. So instead of just coming back to be in front of the camera, my friends were film financiers and producers, and we made a little movie called Born to Race, which was in 2011, and that was based on my winning the high school drags back in high school when I was 16 with my first Camaro. It did really well. We did a sequel, and that kind of introduced us to Mr. Lucas and Forrest Lucas and Lucas Oil, and they got involved in the sequel, and then that kind of turned into more producing with Lucas's Protect the Harvest organization, where all these, American dream, American lifestyle, farming, ranching kind of movies, inspirational ones. And it felt good with me because I grew up on a ranch up here, and I like that. I didn't want to do like horror movies or, kind of any of these raunchy comedy things. I wanted to do things that not too cheesy, but had meaning. And now we have a 5 film slates that we're doing with those, and we're on the 4th one. We actually just finished Running Wild literally 2 weeks ago with Sharon Stone, and we're doing the next one called Pray for Rain, which hopefully we're going to try to get Gina Davis in. It's a movie all about farmers in California and how the drought and how environmental activists, some extreme ones, it's affecting them and how tough it is for them. But these are, scripted. They're not documentaries. They're like real movies. We had Jon Voight, Academy Award winner Jon Voight, 2 movies ago, which was called The Wizard, and that's going to come out next year. That one's based upon me and my family's life coming to America in the late 70s, in the middle of the whole Iran hostage crisis, like that whole Argo time frame. And it was really tough to come into this small town, but through I was like a state champion finalist in high school wrestling, so it was like a cool, kind of like a Rocky meets Karate Kid set in a very tough time. So we did that with Jon Voight. Then we did Running Wild, which is all about the horses and the, taking care of wild horses and how are we supposed to deal with them, because it's a big problem here in the West. And that's the one with Sharon Stone. And this farming one, Pray for Rain, should be another. Kind of like a heart. These are all like heart.
Yeah, you've given us a lot here, just going through your career here. I'm interested in how you broke through. Like, at what point in your career, you said you were in Saved by the Bell, and you weren't the lead role. You were kind of
no, it was just a one guest star. Yeah,
right. And so, like, going back to that period when you're getting these small time gig roles to doing what you're doing now, like, when did you have an aha moment where you realized that, like, hey, I can do this, I can succeed at this?
Well, there was like 2 of them. There's 3 of them. The movie started getting better and better. So I started doing recurring roles. I did a couple episodes like King of Queens. At the same time, I did a couple episodes of Jag. And then I got, my first lead with Chuck Norris in the movie. So that was starting to roll through bigger stuff. And simultaneously, the car stuff in 2001, I won this race in a brand new Subaru I had. A 2001 WRX was a brand new car that came to the States. And I made the cover of this magazine. And Subaru came knocking, like a local dealer said, hey, can you bring your car to a show? We went to the show, and we met the CEO and the CFOs of Subaru of America, and we just hit it off. And all of a sudden, we got this multi-million-dollar program, and I'm setting world records. And, literally all of a sudden, 5-6 years pass, and you have, 18 NHRA Wallies. Wally is like the best prize you can win with NHRA. So that was a big aha moment when we went pro. And then the same thing kind of happened when we started making these movies, and when I partnered up with Forrest Lucas. That was like where now I'm like kind of like in an executive producer level. So that was kind of like the next aha moment for the movie. So it's just these really big, fortunate chapters I've been able to do, and whether it's racing, and now I switched the head of Subaru's marketing. Tim Mahoney is now head of global marketing for all of GM, and I ran into him at a car show a couple years ago, and he said it feels great to fight for the home team. And now this year I raced with a Chevrolet for the first time. He connected me with the right people, and I got a brand new 2015. It's a drag race only car. It's not something you drive on the street. It's called a Copo Camaro. Actually, I'm on the cover of Drag Illustrated with that Camaro right now this month. So it's kind of like a fun transitions,
Yeah, really exciting. What I'm getting is, are you the one who is responsible for putting the Subaru WRX on the map of racing?
I think in the U.S., yeah, we definitely had a big hand in it because that's when it came up. Now, I did the drag racing, which was more, the fast and furious, like real American lifestyle stuff, where Subaru's really known for their rally racing, but rally racing isn't that big in America. It's not a huge sport, but drag racing and street racing and, the whole, not necessarily street racing, but the car culture is huge. So, yeah, we were the ones that, kind of blew that up. I mean, we were everywhere from 2002 to 2008, 2009. I mean, every race, every show, whether it was like Hot Important Nights or the Dub Show or SEMA. We covered all that stuff. And also, like I said, we were lucky enough in 2005, we started making our own line of cars. Each one was numbered and signed and looked just like my race car, but they were like legal cars you could go to your dealership and buy. And we did commercials, and I did a female driver contest. So this girl, like hundreds of girls applied, thousands of girls applied, and we picked one, and she ended up racing for us for 2 years out of Texas, and she won the whole series, the national series. So we did a lot of cool cross-marketing stuff with all our sponsors, whether we're Subaru or Lucas Oil, and then the Lucas Oil thing kind of morphed into making movies together too. So, but yeah, we helped Subaru a lot.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, in North America. It's cool to see how what you've done with racing and cars and how you're really succeeding in one area and how that's connecting you to your other passion, which was getting back into film.
Yeah, well, that would be, I mean, listen, if there's a quote again other than that, you sleep when you're dead quote,
yeah.
Do what you love.
Yeah.
I know that's a little soapboxy, and, as I said, you sound like a, fifth grade school teacher, but like, do what you really like, do what you love. It doesn't feel like a job, it's a lifestyle. And, that's when I think people, they put the dollar signs at the end of it. And I said, I wouldn't do that. Just do what you would do every morning. If you woke up every morning, you had all the money in the world, what would you do? And if it's smoke pot and drink beer, then you're screwed. But if it's something else that you would do, then do it. That's what you should do. And when you do something you really like, and usually you're good at it and you do it more, and then that, the monetary and the lifestyle of it follows it. Whether you're an artist or a businessman or an entrepreneur, engineer, name it, actor, just do what you love to do and do it the best you can, and that'll, come through. And that's kind of what I try to do. I'm not, I'm not a big, tall, good-looking American Brad Pitt-looking dude. You know what I mean? I'm a Middle Eastern, shorter guy. Guy grew up in Petaluma. I'm the only one that looked like I did, and but I still did what I liked. I loved cars. I love old classic cars and racing and adrenaline, and love movies and acting. So I've been fortunate enough, knock on wood, to be able to make a living at these two things.
Yeah, you didn't listen to the opinions of other people telling you that you're too short, you're not the right ethnicity, you're not supposed to do that. You listened to your heart, which was, hey, this is what I love. I'm going to go in this direction. And you went in and look at what's happened. Like, you've done some incredible things here, and there's so much more to create in your future.
Thanks. Yeah, very true. Yep. The acting side was tough because, you always thought, in real life, a lot of different, you don't get stereotyped. But in the acting world, I think you get hit hard. So that's why it's cool to be behind the camera now, too, because I can give opportunities to other actors that normally wouldn't. The guy can be Middle Eastern or Asian or black, or he doesn't have to be that specific, in this day and world of sex, too. You could be, a lot of roles could be, females now. We work with Alice Walton and the whole Walmart gang in their Bentonville Film Festival, and sometimes Walmart gets a bad rap, but I mean they throw this huge festival. The first time was this year with actually Gina Davis and Trevor Drinkwater throw it. It's a Women in Diversity in Film, huge festival in Bentonville, Arkansas, Walmart's hometown, and so there's a lot of new frontiers to go and break in stereotypes, and that's just one of them, which was a lot of fun to do, and that was kind of reflective of my life. And I got to have dinner with Robert De Niro at Alice Walton's house, and I don't get really starstruck, but that was kind of fun, and it was like you got all these big names and powerful people influential people trying to change stuff, and that's kind of stuff I like. I know it sounds a little corny, but I'm kind of that's kind of cool to me.
Definitely not corny. I think this is the show to really go into those topics. I'm interested in if you could take us back to a time in your life when you encountered a massive failure or a major challenge along your journey, and how did you overcome that?
At 15 years old, my mom passed away, and she was battling cancer her whole life. She was supposed to have died 12 years prior to when she died is what the prediction of the doctors was. So she battled it basically my whole life. I think that was the toughest thing for me. My mom died at 15 and my dad went back to Iran. So all of a sudden I turned 16 a month later after my mom died, and my dad went to Iran, and I was kind of on my own. I lived with friends up here in Northern California, a couple months here, a couple months there, finished high school. And I think that was a huge challenge. And I think the way I coped with it, honestly, was with cars. I didn't get into drugs. I didn't drink. I didn't party. I wrestled my ass off in high school. That's why I literally became the best wrestler the school ever had. And that's the movie Wizard kind of based on that. And I also raced my heart out. I mean, all I did is pour all my energy into that. And I think being on your own, just kind of thrown into adulthood, having to mature overnight basically, was the big challenge. But again, that's kind of why I became, who I became had, my level of success. I'm not, like Earnhardt Jr. or Gordon or these huge racers. But for me, it was a great, great way to get my frustrations out. And also it gave me a skill set that now I used in this other world, for Survivor, hustling, cars, acting, movies. So it's weird how sometimes the, bad things that happen to you in life end up, giving you the skills you need to succeed.
What do you think kept you going in that moment, like those dark moments there?
Just survival, bud. You're so young, you don't know what you're thinking. You're not meditating. You're just a kid. So I think it was just literally survival. Like, one foot being in the moment, one foot in the front. Finish this test, finish this class, get to school, get to Wednesday night, race the car, get the car ready, get back to school. Win this wrestling match. It was so primal. Survival. It was like, don't get in trouble. Don't do anything that's going to get you kicked out of the house. Don't be homeless. Because again, you were just a guest at a friend's house living in a suitcase. Because at that time, my dad had said, he was only going to go away for 3 months. But when he went to Iran, he got stuck there and didn't come back for 6 years. So literally, they wouldn't let him leave out of the country. So it was really an unstable thing that I've really had it challenged my whole life, because we just didn't have, with my mom's illness and my dad's departure, there's a tremendous abandonment feeling you get as a kid, and it kind of ripples through your whole life. My lifestyle and being able to juggle so many things is very reflective of the instability. A lot of my friends that had normal lifestyles or normal-ish lifestyles, they just, like, what I do drives them crazy, because they, it's just so unstable. So, that's kind of it all. Again, it's all that instability causes me to be able to juggle so many jobs and be able to, multitask like no other. So.
Yeah, what I'm getting from this is that you've been able to turn this. You easily could have fallen into drugs and alcohol and gone down this negative downward spiral in life, but you turned this big challenge into almost an asset that has helped you accomplish all the things that you've accomplished. Yeah, exactly. And life is short. When your mom dies at 15 years old, you quickly realize the value of life. Life is short. Do things, take risks, because you never know. So I think take that whole hustle lessons I learned and then add a sense of time to it, that, take the risks. It's okay. Don't be stupid, but, life is short. So I think you combine those two and, you just kind of go after it a little harder. What I'm getting is having a higher sense of urgency on your life because it's short, and to take the risk that you want to take. Yeah. Ask the super hot cheerleader to prom. She might say no. She might say yeah, but go ahead and ask. You never know. Yeah. What have you seen with alcohol and drugs and partying? Maybe think back to the times when your early acting days, to guys that were maybe ahead of you doing really well, but they fell into this kind of downward spiral with alcohol, drugs, and partying. You know what? It's interesting you say that. I mean, obviously, as you get older, your opinions, they grow and they change a bit. And I think when I was younger, I was very judgmental. It was like I was I've never done drugs really, but it was like, if you went down that path, I would stay away from people like that. And I really judged it poorly. And again, that was for my own protection, because I didn't have the stability. I couldn't go and get drunk in high school and come back. I could have got kicked out of the house. It's my friend's mom. I'm not going to, put that pressure on them. However, the older I'm getting, I don't know, man. It's like I've learned a lot of, people, there's reasons they're in pain, they're hurting, that's their out. And I think a lot of people go through these journeys, and, I've softened a bit on judging them as much as I used to. Now, I still don't. I'm not this huge party animal. And I feel bad for the ones because usually that all comes from some kind of abuse or pain or a lack of something they had when people take that stuff to the extremes. But now I've realized that how that really works, and I kind of give people more of a chance and more of a understanding than say I did before. Before I was really hard on that stuff. I was very judgmental. Now I'm like, to each their own. They all have their own journeys, and and a lot of them have come out on the other end. Now they're good citizens. They're cool. They're people. They're family guys and girls, and so it's like it wasn't as scary as I thought. But again, coming from my world, everything was scary. You were fearful of everything. But now life kind of teaches you, life does take care of itself, and shit goes through. You go through chapters, but it does. Not everything's going to be doomed. Everybody's not going to end up like your mom dying. People will
survive. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, just going into what I felt like when people are on the rise in their career, let's say that hustle that you had, you start to lose it because you've achieved some level of success, and so you start just kind of falling. You feel like you've made it, taking it for granted. You're partying, going out, and you lose the hustle that got you to where you are, and then over time it slowly fades away. Just wondering if you've seen that amongst your peers.
I have, yeah, no, definitely you see that with people that make it, but those are the people that I think would, I mean, just, even if they don't make it, I mean, you see unsuccessful people doing the same thing, or a successful person. If they're always going after it, gosh, you could be, Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, and then, what happens? You get philanthropic, you go to change the world. And if you don't, you go for the bigger thing. You want the finer things in life. You go for monetary gains. Let's say you get all those, you become Larry Ellison of Oracle or something. Then you start changing stuff, but that, I think, is in the personality. So, yeah, a lot of people, unfortunately, especially in Hollywood, sometimes it happens more when they don't get the fame and fortune and they get bummed, or they get it and lose it. That's where I've seen the biggest hits. Stars in the 80s and 90s, they've just lost it. And I'm like, oh, shit. Now these guys are, they kill themselves. You hear the stories all the time. They commit suicide. They're in rehab. It's because they were on top of the world in this very, weird business. This business makes no sense. And then, they can't even get an audition anymore. So, you go from everybody throwing themselves at you to your yesterday's news. So that's where I've seen people hit rock bottom.
Yeah. So what would you
especially in the musician world too. The musicians do more than the actors from my history.
Cool. Okay, got it. What would you say is the difference between someone who succeeds in Hollywood versus someone who does not succeed in Hollywood?
I think it's twofold. I think it's understanding who you are. Listen, I'm not going to go and be the lead of a big movie. I'm not going to be the Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, but I can definitely be the De Niro or the Pacino. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different thing. Know who you are. Know your business in Hollywood. Like, try to be realistic. Like, are you the heartthrob? Are you the character actor? Are you the big fat dude on the side? Are you the Middle Eastern sidekick? Are you the, whatever? Like, I think if you know who you are and what you have to offer and what you're good at, that's one. And then the second thing is don't sleep.
Okay, there's a recent TED Talk I watched, and I'll just, I want to see what you think, but Ariana Huffington says the key to success is to sleep.
You know what? She's probably right. And meditate and sleep and let the world take its course. Sure. But yeah, I mean, my thing is like, I don't know, I'm just very opportunistic. Like I want, in a positive way, like if I see something I want to do, it's that whole thing. Like I just keep working at it. I keep working at it. But yeah, I mean, there's tremendous truth to silence and meditation and resting and being your best self. And when I say don't sleep, I don't mean like, don't physically sleep, but it's like I still try to meditate twice a day, 10 minutes a day, keyword try. But I think that she's got a point there. But for me, it's more about the hustle. There's so much to do. You know what I mean? There's so much to do and so much to get done, whether it's racing or acting or now producing. I'm relatively a new filmmaker. This is my 7th movie I've made in just 3 years. So we're cranking. We're averaging 3 to 4 movies a year. So it's it's a lot of fun, but it's just so much to do. So for me, it's like, you know what? Don't slow down. Yeah, spend time with family, friends, do your thing, but don't. This is the time to hit it hard. You can, sleep when you're dead. You're going to retire in 20, 30 years. That's when you downshift. For right now, full throttle plus the bottle. That's a car saying.
Yeah. No, I like it. I like it. Do you find that others that are, you said you were eating lunch with Robert De Niro, you're surrounded amongst a lot of these heavy hitter A-list people. Do they have this same mentality? Are they regular people, or are they really grinding? Are they really hustling?
You know what? I think the guys I ran into, John Voight, Academy Award winners, De Niro, Sharon Stone, they're probably beyond, like, if they hustled, they already had hustled. Now, they all work hard. They all have tremendous schedules. They're traveling everywhere. So, yes, the hustle is still there. But the thing with them is they're all smart. They're all very friggin' smart. They know whether it's street smart or what smart. They're just very smart people. They're intuitive. They're confident. That's kind of where I'm like, But do I see them, like, stressed out and hustling like I am? No. But, there's 20-year gaps between the people we're mentioning, 30-year gaps in some of them, So I think if you're in your 20s, 30s, early 40s, and you're still making it, I think you got to hustle. But those guys, I really don't have too many superstar-ish, like I don't hang out with like Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio and those guys, because those guys are more like my age bracket or maybe a little older than me, but they're still, like superstar level. The superstars I've run into are just a bit older. So I don't see that hustle, but I sure see this experience and wisdom and smarts they have. And it's very inspiring to me because I'm like, wow, look at these guys. And they're calm. I might talk a mile a minute. They're calm. They're chill. They're all very controlled. I'm like a spaz compared to them.
Well, it's to your advantage. Remember the ADA.
ADA, exactly.
Right.
And I take that from Ari Gold. That's such a...
I want to have to get that book. I know it's a good one, the Ari Gold.
Yeah, it's funny. The gold standard. Yeah, it's hilarious. It's really funny. That's the cool.
I want to dive into a part of the show I call the knowledge round. Just going to dive into some rapid fire questions here. Then we'll wrap up. So, Ali, are you ready for the knowledge round?
Sure. Let's do it.
Do you feel stuck, alone, or like you're not getting the type of results you think you deserve? You put in all the hard work in your life, relationships, and business, but things just aren't getting any better? I've been there. That's how I started. That's where I was. I kept trying to improve my life, but nothing just seemed to give. I started to think that personal development was a joke. I felt like every month I was in the same place I was the previous month. But then I found something that just worked. I grew, my business grew, my relationships flourished, and everything around me just started to click. People started respecting me more, and I finally felt like I was becoming the man I wanted to be. I created a program to help guys get the same results in their life. Check out kfmline.com to learn how the Lion's Den can radically transform your life. Again, that's kfmline.com. Welcome to the Knowledge Round, where the guests will be asked rapid-fire questions to give the audience invaluable pieces of wisdom to help transform their lives. Starting in 3, 2, 1, showtime.
Post-production there. The first question I have for you is, what I'm noticing about your career here is at an early age, like you were really passionate, like you had this sense of direction where you knew where you were going. You knew what you liked, cars, acting, and getting into producing, and it's giving you a direction to go full throttle in. What advice would you give to someone who doesn't have that, who's feeling lost and unsure of their direction in life?
Try all the different omelets. Try it all. Try every single one on the menu, because you'll find that one will work. So just go out there and taste everything. Taste all the different. There's a movie. Which one movie is it where the guy referred to the omelets? I forgot the name of the movie, but it's like, just go try different things. Try music, try art, try things you've never tried before. And one will stay with you. One will hit you in the heart and run with that one. But if you don't know it yet, that means you just haven't felt that thing yet. So keep going for it. It's there.
Yeah. And what was holding you back from becoming the man you are now today?
I don't know. I think I'm on the same path. I think I'm on the path I was meant to be. I don't know if too much was holding me back. I get, your typical fears, a little bit of fears, but again, I'm not very fearful. I kind of go for it, So not too much has held me back that was in my control, if you will.
Yeah. I'm really getting this like fearless type of attitude towards life from you.
Yeah, I think so. You know what I'm feared of? Flying. I'll tell you that. I hate flying, airplanes. But other than that, everything else is pretty easy,
So you're a race car driver going, hundreds of miles an hour, scared of flying.
Yeah. I think it's the claustrophobic. Somebody else is in control.
Got it.
Yeah, I should learn how to fly. That's what I should do. When I'm in a private jet, that's beautiful. But when I'm in like the commercial stuff,
All right. And what would you say are 2 or even 3 of your most influential books that you've read, and why?
Gosh, I'll be honest with you, I don't read too much anymore. Back in the day, I read The Road. Remember The Road? That was good. Tuesdays with Morrie was good. It's funny. I did an episode of King of Queens that was a spinoff of Tuesdays with Morrie, and that book, the compassion. And your family isn't necessarily just your blood family. It's who is your, spiritual family. That's what that one left with. The Road's survival was very, very, that gripped me. And as funny as it is, buddy, audiobook count, as funny as it is, this gold standard, it's a joke and it's a comedy, but there's a lot of it is rude and crude and racist and belligerent, but there's a nice 50% of it that's real, that really affects business, especially how Hollywood works and how much bullshit there is there, and how you have to weed through it, and perception and heat and who's hot and just the way the world works in our entertainment business. So it's almost silly, but the gold standard is probably the third one. I would wrap that up with the gold standard.
Really good. Yeah, I'm going to throw that one on audiobook too, right after this call. Now, this next one is more of a scenario. So imagine you had 60 seconds with 20-year-old Ollie, your 20-year-old self. What would you tell him to do, and what would you tell him not to do?
I would literally tell him, don't waste time. All the insecurities you have right now, everything you think your dad's coming back from Iran, he's not going to be able to come back from it. I'd give him like the truth of the future. I'd say like, you're going to be fine, but don't count on your dad coming back. You're going to do it on your own. Your brothers are always going to be there for you, and just jump into it headstrong. Like, don't worry about it. I honestly probably would have changed my school too, because I have a bachelor's degree in biology. I would just kind of shift that, go into business marketing. You're not going to be a doctor like you think you're going to be and, save the world. You're going to do a different thing in life. So I would be, it's a little more practical. I'd be more practical. I wouldn't have any like big spiritual hits. It would be more like, hey, do this, do that. Because the rest of it I feel good about. So that's what I would do. I would steer myself a little different in education, steer myself a little bit more towards what I love to do, and kind of dispel some of the hopes and thoughts that like you had growing up, thinking your family was going to revert to what it was. I think those things kind of hindered me growing.
Yeah. So really accepting where you are and not wishing
and
things
what was coming.
Right.
Exactly. Yep. Not wishing things were different, and they're not going to be different. So just be okay with it now.
Yeah. I mean, you could have just been living in the past and hoping and wishing that things were different for 10, 20 years.
Yeah. And I did to some extent. So that's why if I hit myself at 20, I'd be like, dude, come here. Let me tell you what to do.
All right. And so even if you have to summarize some of your main points here, what would you say is your philosophy on life and success?
You know what? I've learned quite a bit from Forrest Lucas, the self-made, billionaire of Lucas Oil, and he's a great guy. And I think it's, be kind and work hard, be honest. Be kind, be honest, work hard. I think the rest just follows. Kindness is free. That's one of those things. It doesn't cost more to be kind. And I think there's too many like wannabe movers and shakers in this world. It's just bullshit. They're just weak, and they attack and degrade and da-da-da. It's like, that's useless. Like, be kind, work your ass off, do everything you can that you know that you can do in an honest way. I think so. Those would be like my philosophy in life.
Yeah, really good. Just letting some of that soak in. And I think my audience is really loving that right there. And this whole episode has been really good.
Thanks, man. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm happy to get off it.
Yeah, no, this is very powerful. What would you say is exciting you today? Like, what is really rocking you out of bed in the morning?
With these movies, getting these movies done and the message that Protect the Harvest, I mean, you can go, I don't want to plug it, but you can go to protecttheharvest.com and check it out, like kind of upholding the traditional farmers and ranchers. Not every farmer is a huge, evil GMO kind of farmer. Not every rancher treats his animals horribly, the cows and chickens and stuff. Like, I grew up in Northern California on a ranch, so I like this. I can't wait till these movies get out there and people, we get people think like, hey, you in New York City in your penthouse when you order that, fancy salad, like, do you really know where it comes from? Do you know how it's put together? Do you know those guys in Central Valley, how that process works? Or you getting your protein shakes and your egg scrambles? Like, do you really know where your chickens and your eggs and stuff come from? And I'm not meaning it on a left-wing or right-wing conservative or super liberal vegan kind of point of view. I kind of mean it like the real part. Like, think about it. Like, should you do things the right way? Should you do them the wrong way? So that excites me, because these movies we're not making like Jackass #3, or we're not making Paranormal Activity. We're making very we're kind of making important movies. Just think these movies are good movies. I mean, like, professors at Purdue want to use these movies as lessons, and they're like Aaron Brockovich-ish. They're like narrative, entertaining, but they have meaning behind them.
Yeah, really, really good. I love the work that you're doing, and I really support it. And so, yeah, absolutely. What was the link again?
Our link is esxentertainment.com, but Mr. Lucas's company, the organization, the charity, is called Protect the Harvest. And, if I could let you guys know, I mean, I started all the social media recently, but I have it's at Ali Afshar, ESX. ESX is the company name. E like elephant, S like sugar, X like X-ray. So my name with ESX, the 3 letters behind it, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, those are my handles. So between those 3, protecttheharvest.com, which is specifically about the forest organization, ESX Entertainment, that's the movies. that kind of do a little bit of support for Protect the Harvest, and then as well as my own at Ali Afshar ESX, where you can see all the car stuff and all the movie and acting stuff as well.
Yeah, got it. All right, Ali, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been really good. Thanks for your story and being vulnerable and really sharing a lot of the life lessons throughout your journey. It's been invaluable.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I hope, some of my words make a difference. So much appreciated.
Thank you for listening to the Knowledge for Men podcast. Hundreds of interviews and 1 million downloads later, we're continuing to build an international movement, and we've just started. So if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and leave a review in iTunes. It really helps to grow the podcast. Guys, 2015 is the official year of living with purpose, where every day you do only the things that matter to you. You wake up, live with purpose, and take massive action towards the life you want. Check out kfmfree.com to get free tools I've created to help you crush life. Again, that's kfmfree.com. This is your host, Andrew Farabee, and I'll see you in the next episode.